What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. This is Big Games BS brought to you by Den Media Group, presented by thehumidor.com. Go to thehumidor.com for all your cigar needs. Type in Sports Den at checkout, you get 20% off. Like whatever cigars you need, cutters, lighters, humidor packs, they sell it all there. Just go there. It's cheaper. If you spend over $150, you get free shipping in the continental United States. It's really the only acceptable place to really go and buy cigars outside of Goodfellas Cigar Lounge, which is where we present the show each and every day that we do it, 3 days a week. Most of the time, we come here. It's all kinds of. It's the best lounge. It's like Cheers. It's where everybody knows your name. Once you come here, man, you family. Just tell them you heard about it through Big Game. They'll give you some extra ice, or they'll throw another olive in your Bloody Mary. But actually, that might be the best way to kind of even start today's show. Like, I'm not in the game. I really don't ever want to be back in the game. It doesn't seem like a fun place. But one of the cool things about me is that what I don't make in money, and I make enough. Like I like the speculation that people have online on Twitter, like about what I make. It kind of reminds me of Jay-Z when he first came out. A lot of speculation on the monies I've made, honeys I've slayed. How is he for real? Does this dude really paid? I like that. But just know I make enough. But what I have is I have access. I am not blind to the fact that I have access that a lot of people don't. When it comes to Jaguars, any sports in general, meeting celebrities, meeting politicians, and even here. So, like, after the draft, I came up here, had a beverage, just to kick it, cool out. And I thought I was going back on the news that night, but I ended up not. But we had a draft party here at Goodfellas anyway, so it was good to have the crowd here, good vibes. I appreciate everybody who showed up and showed out. We came up, I had some people come up and hung out with me. One person in particular didn't really, know me like that, but they were just like, hey, we're going out. I want to go out. I look too fly to go back home. And I'm like, well, shit, if you're going to spend money, come spend money at Goodfellas. Come on, hang out. And then we got a bottle of champagne. I don't drink champagne. I absolutely hate champagne. And we were talking, and I learned that if I ever truly do get back in the game, you got to have, I'll be 38 this year in a few months. If COVID or something else doesn't try to kill me like the last 3 years, something's come up. But like, yo, these women are young as shit. And the conversation, trying to have a conversation with a woman in general, but in particular, a young woman, is I'd rather pull my dreads out sometimes, like individually, one by one. I made a reference to a great show, a show that birthed one of my favorite shows, Frasier. Show's called Cheers. You don't know what Cheers is? I feel bad for you, and I feel sorry for your mother. But Cheers basically is a show centered around a famous bar in Boston. It has a very iconic song. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad. Like, basically, Goodfellas is my Cheers. And I said, the person asked me why I didn't go to a rival, now rival cigar lounge. And I'm like, well, I like those guys, but this is my Cheers. Crickets. Like, just a blank look. I was like, you don't know what Cheers is, do you? She was like, no, I'm sorry. I don't. And I was like, good night. I don't even want to talk to this person anymore. Like, you can't have conversations with people where they don't understand your inside jokes. Man, woman, or child. That's why when I was first coach, when I first moved here, I said, I don't need any new friends under the age of 25. Well, right now, I think I'm going to start putting out a new preference. We could be associates. You can kick it with me, but I don't, if you're not over the age of 33, maybe I don't think I can get to know you. Like, there's nothing we have in common. Like, you didn't watch Nick at Night. You didn't come up with you probably don't know Lamb Chops Play Along. You probably don't know not SpongeBob. What's the thing I'm trying to think? You don't know all that. You don't know like Snick. You don't know Are You Afraid of the Dark? There are things that you just don't know that I can't relate to. And it bothers me. I'm not even gonna lie. It bothers me more than the fact that a lot of you people have this warped sense of what actual reality is. With the sick, it was a thing that came on social media the other day where a chick was like, "I can't be with a guy who only makes six figures. You have to make more." And I'm like, sis, you do realize that not that many people make over $50,000, right? And like she wasn't ugly. Have your preference. Do whatever you want to do. I ain't for the Kevin Samuels me. But I'm just saying that some of the things that you guys say, your qualifiers, literally put you in you're shooting at the top 3%. And you know what? Shoot your shot. God bless. Be in those rooms. But I'm just saying, like, you're setting yourself up for a lot more disappointment. Than what you realize, and I want everybody to win, and I want everybody to succeed. With that being said, there is a lot going on in the sports world. More things, come up. Shout out to my Mika Nopi group. We Michaela Edenfield, we dropped her first deal that she signed. She's got a couple more that are on the way. We got some more news coming for that. We just made a partnership with Base Path and Athlance to help keep things in proper perspective. Got a great interview with Mark Rogers TV, 2-part interview where we talk about name, image, and likeness, what it is, how it will work, and stuff of that nature. But I joked about younger women, but I'm also trying to figure out women my age as well. I don't really know where to go because I'll be 38, so I can't go up too high if I ever went, because that means I'll be bumping up to 50 or something like that. And that just bothers me. It just 50, even though I've been with one before, but 50 reminds me more of my mom. And I can't be in that realm yet. And it is funny too to see, like, if I go step out to the old folks club in Tallahassee, my mom's friends and their reactions to me now. So again, like I always joke with women, like, all the shit that y'all say that y'all been through, just know men gone through that too. We just don't get to bitch about it. Like that part. We don't get to say that we were not molested, or like that our mom's friends hit on us. Like, or they would say shit like, "I can't wait till you're 18," or things of that nature. Like, because even women make, oh well, that's supposed to happen. Like, again, it's the same misogynistic world, but older women or women in general in accountability are like, I make this statement all the time, and every day it never ceases to amaze me, are like children and vegetables. They just don't like it. And where I'm coming from with this is there's 2 instances in sports where women have made irrational, crazy decisions, and there are women that are defending them, or there is no defense because the defense would be you hate black women. A black woman trying to defend herself against another black woman. Because I'll get into that. So the first one is why I don't date light-skinned women. So Keisha Cole is a case against light-skinned women. Gorgeous, beautiful. I don't hate light-skinned women as some people think. I've dated them before in the past. I have a mother who is extremely fair-skinned, and my sister is being in the sun a little bit more, so she's getting a little browner now. But both of them women, and my grandmother, them some light-skinned ass women. Trust me. Them motherfuckers crazy too. My mom is not crazy. She's just wild, but they crazy as well. Keisha Cole is probably on the spectrum of the craziest of light-skinned women. And I say this because just listen to her fucking music. It's amazing, very passionate. None of the songs make sense. Love, I know women used to love to belt that song. Shit doesn't make sense when you actually write down the words and you listen to what you're saying. Doesn't make sense. She made a song, I Might As Well Have Cheated. She made the dopest song she made was I Changed My Mind with Kanye West. A lot of people don't know that was like her intro song, but that shit was fire. But like if you just listen to it, mood range of emotions. This chick has been around. Now I'm finding out since the Death Row days. Which, when I really step back and think about it, they're not that much older than me. Like I thought Pac, you think rappers are old, but like Pac would be like in his mid-40s right now. Oh wow. Like he wasn't that old. Like it just felt like that during that time because they were still, I said, what was I? I think I was 12 when Pac died. He was 26, so he's 14 years. So maybe Pac would be in his 50s. Big would have been in his 40s. But, Keisha Cole was a child around that time. She's like the same age as me. But her mom had her around. She was shopping deals, trying to get ready. But Keisha Cole has been linked to Birdman. She's been linked to a lot of different celebrities. Most recently, the craziest of all crazies, Antonio Brown. So before I even get into this, you have to ask yourself questions. And I believe everybody deserves a first, second, third, 80th chance, right? But Antonio Brown has shown you over the last 3 years, we'll go 4 years, he's batshit crazy. Yeah. So, one, you deciding to date Antonio Brown means you threw caution to the wind, and you decided to deliberately ignore all the fucking signs. That is your fault. That's nobody else's fault. That is your fault. I'll go on the limb and I'll speak for all black men. And I like him as an athlete. Antonio Brown's a shitty man. Anybody who throws candy dicks at his baby mama, no matter how bad it is probably a bad person. Anybody who just strips in New York State in December where it is cold during the middle of a fucking game is fucking weird. Anybody who keeps getting kicked off of teams is fucking weird. And you, Keisha, decided that you wanted to date him. That's not my issue with this. She did decide to date him. It is weird. My issue comes in this, is that I'll break up with you if this in fact happens. I like tattoos. I like women with tattoos. I like tattoos of things that really mean something to the person. Like, ooh, that's that pic. Like Rasheed Wallace had a tattoo that I thought about getting one day. It was a tattoo of him, like the sun being him, his wife being the moon, and like different stars, I think, or maybe it was planets. It was all on his arm, and those were his kids. Symbolic, really means something, right? One of the things that actually, there was a girl who's from Jacksonville that I thought about dating. She was gorgeous. I won't say her name, but I remember we were talking, and we were in college, and she had a tattoo of an ex-boyfriend on her. Do you know that immediately made all the fineness that she had, just made her look hideous? And it was on her back. Like, you can't be hitting somebody from the back and then like now you're reading, Jody or some shit like that. Like, it's never a good spot to be in. But she went and got a tattoo of Antonio Brown on her back. And I'll say, in the most sane move that Antonio Brown has ever done, he broke up with her ass really, really quick. And do you know what women's response on social media was? It's something wrong with Antonio Brown. Why would he do that? No. Why the fuck would the light-skinned crazy ass chick tattoo a picture and a name of a boy that she just started dating? That's just as weird as the weird dude who looks like he could have played in Twilight. That's a comedian that's banging Kim Kardashian right now. Pete, yeah, whatever. Pete Davidson, who got a tattoo of Kanye's kids on him. Like, Guys, that shit's permanent. Stop tattooing random shit on your bodies. I mean, listen, your body, your choice, my mind, my opinions. It doesn't like just because you made that choice doesn't mean I can't say you're a fucking idiot. Because all you're gonna do is he broke your heart. Now you're gonna make some other crazy ass songs that actually probably not because you haven't even been relevant in the recording industry in some time. It's like it's time to just step back, be a mom or be a real good person and like stop being crazy, man. But again, in sports, I can blame Antonio. Multiple things can be true at the same time. Damn, I really do say that a lot. There's a meme that I put on Facebook, like, hey, it was the person said, what are some of my go-to phrases? And I had a friend put, like you said, two things can be true at the same time. It's like you say that a lot. And Antonio Brown is crazy. There is something wrong with him. But Keisha Cole, you're a fucking idiot. And the fact that you don't have anybody in your life that you can listen to that could tell you that, yo, that was stupid. You probably shouldn't do that. Don't get the guy that you just started banging tattooed on your back. That means it's sad. Now, another African-American, gorgeous African-American, elite athlete. I absolutely love her. I love her energy. But what I don't like is the fact that, again, the lack of accountability that's been had for her and this entire time. And that would be Sha'Carri Richardson. That girl was set up to get her ass whooped in this past Olympics. Happens. The Jamaican chicks was bad. I think if she gets her mind right, she'll be set up to be very, very good. And then this upcoming Olympics, her body would be more mature. She'll be more used to being a professional athlete. There'll be things. Now, I'm not arguing the morality of smoking weed. I love me some weed, man. Weed is amazing. Like, I understand everything that Smokey said and Friday. God put this on the earth for me and you to enjoy. It is a great calmer. It helps you relax, which can help aid in your recovery. It helps you sleep. It's a lot better than the pharmaceuticals that they try to provide for athletes, which, a lot of the anti-inflammatories, which you can, honestly, if you want to ask my opinion, I think it was bullshit that she was suspended. That being said, you know the rules. The rules didn't just get created. The rules were there from day one. You know that when you piss, and you know if you're gonna piss hot or not. And you pissed hot. And the rules that govern the body are that. Just like here. Like if I go get a job and they tell me they want to take a piss test, I'm probably not gonna take that job. I'm be honest with you. Or I'm gonna be honest with them. I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm not gonna pass this test right now. Like you might want to give me a month. It's not an addiction. It's just being completely transparent with people. And if that's something that they can't agree with, I'm okay with not taking that job. That's the part of being an adult. It's not once it becomes federally legal, then you're good, but it's still on an international stage. There's still things, but that's not why we're talking about Sha'Carri. Because she's never owned up the responsibility of that. It's been everybody else's fault but hers. But what she's in the news now is because she is finding, or she's coming to the harsh reality that a lot of women find when they try to go the opposite way of what the norm is. There's nothing wrong with being in the consonant community, especially lesbians. Everybody likes a lesbian. Nobody hates lesbians. They're like of all of them, they're the ones that everybody's just like, all right, man, we like that. But she's also finding out that if you look at the statistics, women are abused just as high in those relationships as well.
Oh wow.
They're getting divorced at a similar rate. It's why I actually say that let them have all the same things that we have as men. Like people, even with the Brittany Griner shit, Everybody's like, free Brittany Griner is not right. Now, she knew where she was at. She knew the rules. I don't defend men who put their hands on women. And Brittany Griner is a man who put her hands on her woman. And she tried to get out of paying child support. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a deadbeat ass motherfucker. Like everybody, like it sounds like the stereo. And that's my issue sometimes when it comes to those. It's like, you didn't choose to be like Myron Rolle. You didn't choose to be the MLK man. You chose to be the rapping drug dealer that you want to look like. You chose to be all the negative stereotypes that people have of men, the toxic masculinity, but whatever. She likes a film, which is cool because I've learned these things before anybody gets on me. You have to understand my history. My godbrother Joey, not godbrother, excuse me, my cousin Joey he's unfortunately passed. He passed in 2002. Was gay. I've known him to be gay. I've known him to be gay my whole life. Favorite cousin, never had to worry about anything. Joey was who he was. I love Joey. My sons have, not my sister, but he has great aunt. They have great aunts that are gay. They are amazing. I have a godbrother, Jarrell, who was a cheerleader at Florida State when I was there. And he has, I don't know if it's a cousin or if it's an uncle, Tommen, who's like a 6'5", 275 pound, size 15 wearing pump, transvestite. I have no idea how terrifying that was to be around, but it was cool. He was bad. He was all right. He beat the shit out of people who used to pick on him. That's why I also learned I'm not going to pick a fight with a gay person. Could end bad. These motherfuckers can fight. But Sha'Carri is dating, or was dating, a Jamaican sprinter. And she talked about how that relationship was going. And it obviously wasn't going that great for her. And she says that she was in an abusive relationship. And let me just tell you all these things, because like, if allegations or not, this is why I say the same misogynistic system that everybody tries to tear down, feminism and others use it at their advantage. Because if we were all equal, this would be just as salacious or a headline as anything else. If Sha'Carri Richardson was dating Tyson Gay, who is a famous male American sprinter, gold medal, or Maurice Green, we would be hearing this on the news cycle, and we would have think pieces on the root. We would have all kinds of shit where black men ain't shit, or stuff like what I always love to see. Black men are the white men in black culture. Yeah, that was the dumbest shit I've ever read before. Like, there's been articles written about that. Like, and there's simps that perpetuate this shit. But Sha'Carri said she's attempting to heal from emotional trauma, including, which is ironic, alleged homophobia, which she says she suffered during a relationship with a Jamaican athlete. The 22-year-old Olympic sprinter says she's healing emotionally from trauma she experienced in her relationship with an unnamed female athlete. Sha'Carri wrote about this on her social media post. I was in a relationship with a Jamaican athlete that never cared about me from jump. I was abused and stole from, yet protected her from the judgment of her country and a family while they dragged me. I had to deal with homophobia and so much more that I'm still healing from. Following her victory in the U.S. Olympic trials, Sha'Carri credited her then girlfriend for helping her pick her hair color. She said it just spoke to her, the fact that it was just so loud and vibrant. But she felt like the orange was loud and encouraging, but dangerous. But that's who she is. She wanted me to be able to make a statement, blah, blah, blah. So again, it went from support, which is ironic because that's what a lot of women do. It's like this. Like, if you think about it, how many of you guys know women who found their king? 4 times this year. She got 4 of a kind. She can win any hand in poker. But it's like you found the love of your life. This is why I don't post my shit on people. James, what are you doing? James, are you this? Are you this? You know what? It's hard to mind your own fucking business, ain't it? What I do in my personal life ain't got shit to do with you. Matter of fact, the only reason I post my kids is because you motherfuckers say black dads don't exist. That's the only reason you see my sons. It's more, and it's also to encourage other fathers to continue to do the same thing. Outside of that, my personal, you don't need to know shit about my personal life. You watch me because you like when I hit people in the mouth and when I score touchdowns, or you either like or hate my opinion, or you like cigars. That's it. Who I'm splitting into, it got nothing to do with you. But women love to post this shit, and then the next day, it's like, because that's the other thing. It's like, what if I'm mad? What, I don't need people reading into my motherfucking tweets in my post, because that's what we have. And just, you went from saying this person supported you in your outlandish behavior to now you never had support, you never got cared for from jump. To quote one of my favorite rappers when he was in a beef with another famous rapper, one Nasir Jones, who was in a beef with my favorite rapper, one Sean Corey. Damn, why can't I think of Jay-Z's last name? No, damn, it's crazy. Sean Corey Carter, yeah. And he said, "Is it Uchi Wally Wally?" Which is an amazing song, by the way. I love Uchi Wally Wally in all of its ratchetness. Or is it One Mic, which is a very positive song? Is it Little Black Girl Lost, which is a very positive song about black women and their plight and how they could get lost and start hoeing and being tricks? Or is it Shawty Owe You for Ice, which is basically saying all the things that black women get lost in, he's perpetuating those things. It's like, which one is it? And it's hard because if she said unnamed Jamaican track athlete, we're going to go for Usain Bolt. We're going to go for, I forgot the other dude who I still don't believe is Jamaican because he just had regular ass cornrows. Like, Jamaicans either got fades or dreads. Ain't nobody got regular ass Bone Thugs cornrows from 94. I just find it interesting that, all of this is happening. And none of the positive shit that Sha'Carri has done during this time makes it. There's plenty of guys who went to that Olympic trial and faced hardships that they shouldn't have. There's a guy who's a friend of our show, Marvin. And Marvin went to Florida State for 1 year before he went pro in track and field. Marvin had been killing it all year up until the Olympic trials. He was set to probably finished top 3, if not win the men's 100, the 200, and he was going to be on our 4x1. He's actually an Olympic medalist in the 4x1 in the last Olympics. Marvin pulled his hamstring, so Marvin wasn't able to participate in this Olympics. And based upon the times that he ran, he would have medaled. It finished really, really high, which could have changed his life. But instead of Marvin bitching about his circumstances, you know what Marvin did after the Olympics? Because there was a string of track events. The track season was not over. Marvin went out and proceeded to dominate every track event that he went into, keeping his name relevant and making sure that he didn't lose his sponsorships and that when it's time for the next Olympics, it was going to be good. We don't get a chance to hear about those things from Sha'Carri. We're only hearing about the drama. And I think that's a problem in our community because that's what people think sells. I'm sorry that you are going through that, but I want people to realize that nobody corners the market that ain't shit people. There ain't shit blacks, there's ain't shit whites, there's ain't shit Ukrainians, ain't shit Russians. There's ain't shit men, and there's ain't shit women. It doesn't matter if you have a rainbow flag. It doesn't matter if you are straight and proud. You have to be accountable for the choices that you make in your relationships. And you have to make sure that you're building with people who are about building with you. And kind of going into now veering off of sports a little bit and getting into some still similar simp behavior before we get into some more heavy football stuff. This is the most simp behavior, and again, talking about poor choices. I love the women's liberation movement. I love Tuesdays and Wednesdays on social media. Tuesdays, if you click on your social media timeline, it doesn't matter if you are definitely pastors. Let me get into that shit too, but it doesn't matter who you are. You know somebody who just, I don't want to say a terrible person, but they like shit. They like strippers. If you're a man, if you're a woman, you know people who like strippers. Everybody likes strippers. Titty Tuesdays, Wagon Wednesdays are phenomenal days on social media. It's just, you get a chance to see God's glory. If you don't believe in God, some of the way some of these women are built, or some of the way these doctors have built women, makes you know that there's a God somewhere. The Hugh Hefner on high, if you will. OnlyFans has really come into fruition. We talked about this a little bit with Brittany Jones and how she made her amazing comeback, breaking the houses, giving head. But OnlyFans basically took the sex game or the porn industry and put a battery behind those who are into amateur porn. And while I like hoes, I like reformed hoes. Like, I don't want anybody. I've never wanted a virgin, because if I got to teach you shit, then I'm too grown for that. I need you to come with instructions. At least, like, you got to learn the person's body, but I need you to kind of know your way around the body a little bit. That being said, one of my biggest fears of all time has been to be with Kim Kardashian. I can know that you're a hoe and that you've been with like hundreds of people, but I don't need millions to be able to see that shit on a TV screen. I've never dated a porn star. I've been with a stripper before, never dated one. And if I just don't know how. I get the money and everything is about the bag, but like, OnlyFans is some wild shit. Especially with some of you women who got kids, man. Like Superhead, who was way before, like, that's literally Corinne Stephens. Like, your nickname is Superhead. And she had a son who was coming up during that time. Kids are fucking cruel. Like, most of the time, like, if somebody says, like, hey, when I was like, hey, man, James, well, your mama fine. Your mama got some big lip. Your mama know how to suck a dick, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm sure my father enjoyed that shit. I don't have to think about it. But you know what I don't have to see? I don't have to see. I'm not faced with the reality of my mom sucking my dad's dick. I never had to see that. I am so grateful that I've never been able to run into my mother doing any adult act. You know what my mom's probably grateful of too? That she's never caught me, and I'm so thankful, especially in high school. Sorry, Mom. But like, that she never caught me having sex. That'd probably fuck her head up. Like, you know it's gonna happen. But you don't want to know it's happening, right? But just think about some of you people. Like, you're literally putting out content that your family, your kid, that's why I keep a lot of things private. I can deal with the blowback or any consequences that come from my actions. That's me. I chose this life. My family did. It's not fair when when your decisions have inadvertent consequences. Again, I personally don't care. I don't pay for the $5. My friends have found Reddits that literally take their content for free. My friends are degenerates. But I'm just telling you that, yeah. I'm just telling you that shit is in there, man. But here's where my problem comes in. And this is where we have to worry about a world where people bash the Kevin Samuels of the world too much. Again, if you don't like how he says it, I agree with you. I don't like that either. I don't like the red pill. I don't like these alpha male, all this shit. Because if you're an alpha male, you don't have to tell everybody you're an alpha male. Like you just live your life, and people see that shit. Like me and my me and my friend, I got some real deal motherfuckers that are alphas. Like, but we don't. You know what we don't get in? We don't get in circles saying, "Hey, alpha male. Hi, alpha male. Hey, high value man. How you doing, high value man?" Like, no, motherfuckers don't talk like that shit. Not real. But this is what we not. We not simps. We may enjoy the naked hustle, but we're not necessarily like trying to push the women in our lives into that lifestyle. We're like, baby, there's a better way. Here's the story. My girlfriend started the OnlyFans 2 months ago. See, it's already going downhill now, already from here. Now, there are some people I do know who have OnlyFans for feet, but that's how it starts. Like, the old men get in there and, you know, I'm going to give you $100 for the squish some peanut butter with your feet. I've seen nasty shit. These are some nasty, degenerate-ass old white men. And yes, I meant that. That's a scripter. It's not racism. You old-ass white men are nasty as fuck. I've seen the messages that y'all send to people. It's terrible. Not saying old black men ain't nasty as fuck, because they are too. But it's more of y'all motherfuckers. But if I have somebody come to me and say, I want to start an OnlyFans, I'm going to be like, all right, you want to start you by yourself. You're single. So that's the first thing. After 1 month, she only had 1 follower. Me. Now, that's a supportive ass simp. I'll give you that. Good job. She was upset, and I felt bad for her. I decided to create multiple accounts and subscribe to her so she would be happier and more encouraged to continue her journey. So, what you learned, and instead of giving proper critique and guidance, like a good mate should do, men and women, and saying, baby, I love you, I like you, but your sex or your body ain't good enough to put on Al Green's internet. Nobody's buying this shit, baby. Like, look, it's just like, look, it's 1 month, babe. You've been posting this shit. It's just me. Like, again, in a situation where you can post your titties on Twitter and get thousands of likes, free promo, and then you can post more, and then you can send them to your OnlyFans. Either her shit is bad or she has no ingenuity. If you're gonna do this, bro, you gotta talk, you gotta become a pimp. You gotta go all in. But I'll show you why he doesn't have the pimp heart, and this is why most of us don't. This is why you shouldn't encourage this kind of behavior. And who the fuck cares about your happiness with other dudes? Why are you over here trying to get encouragement from other dudes when you got me, bitch? That's what should be. That's all that should matter. Like, again, you are getting slapped in the face. You simp.
We lost perspective.
Recently, over the past few weeks, she has been getting messages from one of my fake accounts, which uses a very handsome male profile picture. And she has been hinting at meeting up with him. So you use another dude's picture. She is literally showing you that she doesn't give a fuck about your opinion or how you feel about her. She values the opinions of other penises. You have welcomed this in, dude. I'm gonna give you some homework, bro. I need to do, like, what does Steve Harvey have? The strawberry. Maybe I should do this, some guidance. I don't know what to do right now. What? Do I tell her the truth about what I'm doing or continue pretending to be this guy to avoid upsetting her? She mentioned being willing to fly out to meet this dude.
Oh my!
I think her heart would be broken if I told her. This is why more people should listen to Sugar Free and rappers like this. You gotta, men, be a father to your sons. This is why it's important. This is why it is so important to teach them their value. I'm not talking about the high value shit. I'm talking about literally, like, son, they outnumber us about 2 to 1 right now, especially if you're straight. You're straight, black male, you got good credit. You have a good heart. Like, you have a good heart, bro.
Yeah.
But you got misplaced priorities. It's called self-love, right? You can't love somebody properly if you don't love yourself. So I'm not even going to deal with the woman. I want to deal with the person who wrote this narrative.
Speak on
You obviously don't love yourself because there's a lot of red flags here. She made an OnlyFans. She only had one person that followed her. That was you. So obviously, I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's not a 10. But you like her. You want to support her. So you've created and spent more money. And I'd even go as far as saying you're kind of role playing almost, which is what y'all probably should have done without OnlyFans. But you go and you put a picture of somebody that you said a handsome guy. So you already are saying you're not, you obviously aren't a 10 either.
You got to catfish your wife.
You're catfishing your old lady, which is a problem. And now you're talking to her, but obviously it's a way that you're talking to her that's stimulating her, which means she's choosing somebody other than you, which I'm going to go on a limb and say you don't talk to your old lady that way. But, you know, Stefan Urkel, which is what you're being right now. If you remember the Family Matters, Steve Urkel was a nerd. Stefan Urkel, same person, no glasses, talked a little bit different swag. Got Laura, which again, I don't even know why he wanted Laura win. You got to find one. It's another topic. Myra was just why Myra bro. Myra got it all. You talking to Laura, whatever. And now you talking about fluing this girl out. You talking about doing all this shit. And what's wild is she got the comfortability to talk to you about all this shit. And you are lying to her. Like, bro, this is why I tell people the friend zone doesn't exist. Like, it's all about how you talking to the woman. And if you're interested in her sexually or romantically, and that's your only interest, then and you're willing to subject yourself to go down a notch, because essentially what you've been done as her mate, you put yourself in the friend zone. But you're talking yourself out of the friend zone as another person. Yeah. Like, bro, you should have just been like that. You should just be putting, obviously, you're seeing what it is, dog. You got to run game. And again, I'm not one of those guys that says you should leave if a woman cheats. But what I am saying is that in this situation, this scenario, she's clearly choosing somebody that you and her both feel is better than you. So there is no coming back. I always say this: you can do whatever you need to do, and if I love the situation, do I have what's necessary to be able to compete? Because as a male, that's all. Really, I hate this term. As an alpha male, all you can ask is the opportunity to compete. Right. And either you measure up or you don't. But right now, it's clear to your old lady that you don't measure up. And a lot of this stuff, and as a woman, you can take this and flip it. Full permission. You have to ask yourself if you're willing to compete, if this person is worth it, and is it worth you? Because what I won't do is sacrifice who I am and my self-esteem to make you happy. I should make you happy. Yeah. And if I'm not making you happy, and if I'm not enough, now I have to ask myself, what am I willing to do? Now, there's a lot of people who are in open relationships, who are in things like that. But I think you got to like really, it's unchecked any ism is anarchy. Unchecked capitalism gets you slavery or indentured servants or gets you a lot of things. Unchecked misogyny gets you women who don't vote, gets you women who essentially don't own their reproductive rights, gets you a lot of different things. Unchecked feminism or sexualism or things like that get you into situations where you feel you're doing the right thing because you're trying to support your woman's goals. And that's just not kosher or cool, because again, everybody has to be accountable to somebody. one of the things that's wild with men is that men get talked to any kind of way all the time, and we have to suck it up and we have to deal with it. But we're used to it. I was telling a friend, I've been coached my whole life. So I'm used to people saying, giving critiques in not the nicest language. It doesn't change anything. Was I wrong? Can I be corrected? Can I do what they're asking me to do? And will it give me the desired result? That's all that matters. All the other shit is just flowery bullshit. And simping and people who give you that sometimes come from a good place, but you have to watch the source. So what I mean by that is, and it's wild because again, he's dead, and I didn't want to talk on it, but Kevin Samuels obviously passed. Kevin Samuels was made famous based upon his relationship advice, even though he didn't really have any degrees in psychology or things like that. But he gave it. People willingly called in and did shit. Both men and women. Like, you got to see the stuff that he's told men. Like, it was wild. Like, one of them was, he asked the guy, how much money you make? He said, I make like $400 a week. I mean, $400 every 2 weeks after taxes. He said, all right, how much do you weigh? He's like, I weigh 285. He said, how tall are you? He was like, I'm 5'10". Do you have a big dick? And he was like, well, I don't know. He said, well, no, you don't have it, because you either know or you don't. Like, at this point, if you have a big dick. Yeah, so you expect women to come to you and bow down to you when you ain't got no money. We say you ain't got a big checkbook. You ain't got a big dick. The only thing about you is you just big. And I'm sorry, that's pretty brutal. The difference is you didn't see him get overly combative. You saw the guy take the realization of what he just told this guy. He said it. Now, was it nice? No, but that guy needed to be like broke down a couple notches. You shooting for tens when and wondering and getting mad because you're striking out when you're at best a 3.5 to 4 right now. And a lot of times when he told men and other examples, y'all got to stop trying to go and get these women and fucking them up when you don't have anything to offer them. Like, that's what the conversations that he had with men that don't go viral, because men are just like, oh shit, that makes sense. You're not gonna see me retweet. Like, I took something that TK Kirkland said, comedian who talks TK Kirkland, Patrice O'Neal. All right, these guys. What's my guy's name? Who has the man? He's just like Patrice O'Neal. It'll come to me, but and he's very controversial too. But TK Kirkland said, as a man, if you don't have $25,000 in the bank, you shouldn't be worried about having sex with women. And this wasn't saying don't have sex. He was just like, what happens when you have a kid with this woman? What can you offer her? Like, you can't even pay child support. You can't even do anything but be a burden. Like, men talk to each other like this all the time. Just don't need to argue with it, because we know there's a level of truth to that, because nobody gives a shit about a man complaining. That's why I try not to complain. Because when you do, like it's one of the things that I've heard women tell, no woman should be homeless if she has a working vagina. Like, they don't say she should be working. They just say if you good, you shouldn't be homeless. You can have your bills paid. Somebody's willing to covet you. Nobody says that shit for men. Even though we do have homeless sexuals, but most guys have to provide something. So, I mean, I'm saying all that to say is a lot of people didn't go and look at the Kevin Samuels shit that he said to men. It was just as many.
I think you hit the nail on the head. As a society, we're becoming more aware of what it looks like when a woman doesn't know her self-worth. But now, per that last example, right, when a man doesn't know his self-worth, it's similar, just a little different. He's easily taken advantage of. Just like a woman who would be easily taken advantage of, we come with the phrase protect women, protect Black women. This is what it looks like from a man's side.
Right. And the thing is, again, we talk about, little girls, like, for example, little girl gets raped by a man, everybody's ready to whoop the man's ass. Little boy gets raped by a woman, It may make a blip. Some people may say that's nasty. For the most part, and a lot of us, especially African American males, our first sexual experience was with an older woman in close proximity. D. Ray Davis actually jokes about it that he can't go down on women anymore because he was forced to go down on two ugly women when he was a child, when he was like 11 years old. And he's like, they were hairy. It was all kinds of stuff. He's like, it actually to this day, and D. Ray's like in his 50s, it still fucks with him. But men don't get the opportunity and the platforms. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's no bigger simps or sympathizers than men in the pulpit. So I always joke because everybody loves all women love Derek Jackson's delivery. But Derek Jackson was going out being the guy that he told you to avoid. He didn't have any accountability to him. It was candy. He went over there and he gave you cavities. And then what did he do? He's out here, and then he brings his wife down. And you know what women did? They attacked his wife like she's the fucking one who did something wrong. Because she came down in a bonnet. That bitch was probably asleep. And he woke her ass up and said, we got to go do a live because I got caught cheating. And he couldn't even take the accountability of being caught cheating. There's a pastor, O'Jermaine Simmons in Tallahassee. Historical cheater. Motherfucker cheats. Tons of women go to his church. They'll leave their man for cheating, but flock to a preacher of the cloth for cheating, who cheats, and say, oh, he's got good sermons. That's why I'll never stop making jokes about him. They're always funny. And I ain't gonna lie, his let out is probably the best, better than most clubs let out. That motherfucker got hoes. His hoes that go to Jacob's Chapel in Tallahassee. If you want to know where the hoes is at, they're at Jacob's Chapel in Tallahassee. Sorry if that offends you. I don't really give a fuck. There's a pastor in Atlanta, and damn, his name escapes me now. It's fucking COVID and CTE. But you know who I'm about to talk about if you follow this shit. He made a sermon about this motherfucker, Kevin Samuel. And I've heard women say this is why you don't attack black women because karma, like motherfucker, black women. Let me tell you something. If it was karma like that, you'd be in fucking control. Actually, let me table that because I'm gonna go down a avenue that fucking aggravates me about black people in general. But this pastor has like 7 or 8 baby mamas, but has the nerve to get in a pulpit and cast judgment on a dead man. Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant is a single pastor who loves himself some women. I don't judge that shit. My boy OJ is friends with him. That motherfucker like a strip club, just like any other, like the devil do. He love pussy. One thing, and he's preaching at Bishop Eddie Long's church, who used to be against homosexuality, even though he got charged with fucking little boys. One thing I'm learning is in the pulpit, or any Christian, whatever you're so adamantly against is what you adamantly struggle with. So them pastors who talk about cheating and premarital sex and all this other shit, they probably fucking somebody. They really, really against homosexuality, somebody's fucking them. And instead of that pulpit, which so many women go to flock to churches and so many women pay tithes, the church, the lifeblood of the church is the black woman. Because you can go there and you can feel comfort. Black men don't go to church in astounding numbers because when we go to church, there's an accountability and an over accountability to it. I remember one time a pastor consistently preached that I had to be the thermostat and not the thermometer. That I had to do everything. You have to do everything. Then you step back and you realize that I'm the only one being asked to do shit. And I ain't getting what I need. And then you start reading the Bible and you start laughing because it's so counter. The people that they exalt are so counter to what they're preaching about. We joked about it on one of our first Big Game BS. David is the only person in the Bible to be mentioned as a man after God's own heart. This motherfucker got 5 wives and 3 concubines. David was fucking like it was going out of style. You got tons of men in power in that book. You got prostitutes that help get secrets so that they could win wars. It's so wild how rampant premarital sex was in the Bible that it is one of the things that people attack so much. It's anyways, but like I said, that and then lastly on that whole Kevin Samuels thing, there's a rapper or some guy, I don't know, like these you motherfuckers, I'd be lying. I think people be lying about some of these people. I don't think they're a rapper. I just think they're a drug dealer that ain't good at selling drugs. But he went and got a tattoo of Kevin Samuels on his thigh.
Oh, whoa.
Men.
Yeah.
Men. This is why it's important to be a father to your sons. Like, and if you don't have a son, like, go mentor somebody. Because this shit isn't, like, just think about this. Think about the thigh. It was upper thigh. It was upper thigh too, right? I don't know if it was right on the right thigh or the left thigh. Everybody got a place where that thing swang to, right? So you got Kevin Samuels on your thigh, and that thing might just swing. Pop Kevin Samuels right in the face on your thigh. Like that's what you thought was a good idea, man? Fuck out of here, man. If on God, if my sons did some shit like that, I'm slapping fire out of them. Just like I talked about Keisha Cole. You should not get men tattooed on you that don't mean anything. Men, don't get tattoos on you of men that don't mean anything. Real quick, going into the Jaguar schedule before I go into my hate o'clock, which I'm going to go into about what I do hate about black people. The NFL Sharp Football Analysis put the 2022 NFL strength of schedule for the regular season. The team with the easiest, so typically what happens is the team that the first overall pick should get the easiest schedule. And the team that played in the Super Bowl should, in turn, get the hardest schedule outside of like the things in your division that you can't control. But the easiest schedule goes to a team that did draft pretty high, the New York Giants, followed by your Philadelphia Eagles and Indianapolis Colts. The hardest schedule, and this is kind of understandable, LA Rams, Kansas City Chiefs. The Las Vegas Raiders have one of the hardest schedules at 30. The New York Jets, who drafted really, really high, have the 27th hardest schedule, which is wild. Your Jacksonville Jaguars have the 12th hardest schedule. Now, what's wild about this is the projected win totals. New York Giants have the easiest schedule in the NFL. They are projected to win 7.1 games. God damn your ass. The Kansas City Chiefs have the hardest schedule. They're projected to win 10.5 games. The Rams are projected to win 10.5 games. The Raiders are projected to win 8.5. The Steelers, 7.6. The Texans, who have the 28th hardest schedule, the fourth hardest schedule, the fifth hardest schedule, are 4.5. I get those. The Jags, who are in the top, who have a relatively easy schedule, are only slated to win 6.5 games. So, and that's kind of about right where I thought before I even knew what the strength of schedule was. But that's why I have a problem with narratives and how the media paints things. Now, it would be great to see them win 9-10 games. You see a lot of people saying they're going to win 7, 8. You know, that would be an improvement. But what is the fucking goal? Like, when is the media going to get really tired of being ass? It's wild when one of the things that me and Denny Thompson, my partner in Den Media Group, discussed this. We are only asking that we play meaningful games in October than meaningful games and not talking about the draft in November. Then we want to play meaningful games in November. And then if you can get meaningful games in November, meaningful games in December, meaning you're making a playoff push. Depending on when you win those 6 games, will determine when, if you're playing meaningful games. But like when you look at the roster and what is built, you can get excited about the coaching. But none of these receivers are guys in which just make you feel like they're sexy. Christian Kirk is 5'10", $185. He's not a tall guy. He's not extremely fast. He's just okay. He's got 5 more catches than Laviska Shenault in the last 2 years. The crazy dude that was running around the hallways butt-ass naked doesn't do anything for me. He's got a season's worth of stats in 6 years in the NFL. You got running backs who, like somebody posted the projected Jaguars offense, and somebody made the statement, who is going to stop this? And I said, the team trainer, because all the motherfuckers is hurt. Like, that's why you'll see me. I want them to win. I think they can be good. I think they have a good coach. I think this year would be a solid foundation year setting them up. That being said, you got to stop lying to these people. You got to stop. It's a difference between giving hope and false hope. And what's wild is when you say, man, we're going to win 6 games or we're going to win 7 games, that people are going to cheer and be ready to throw a fucking parade. It's not college, man. NFL stands for not for long. Means that you have no idea what's going to happen. And damn, I thought, but one more thing I haven't talked about too in the front terms of NFL, domestic violence is a real thing. We got to be careful too in relationships, because an NFL player, former Alabama wide receiver, almost got into some real trouble because, and this is why, he didn't put hands on his baby mama. I don't even think they called the police. His baby mama took his phone, which is a no-no. My mom always said, I don't look through my mama's phone. My mom has always told me that's her private property. Everybody has to have something that's private to them. Doesn't mean you're doing anything. It just means, like, it's just like I wouldn't look through somebody's journal. I don't look through. I made the mistake of looking through a woman's phone once, and I burned. It's like touching the stove. You ain't got to ever do it again if you burn yourself good enough. But it is not even the fact that it's not the cheating. It's the women's group chat. Again, things that women don't want to admit, but like women's group chat is 20 times worse than anything that a male group chat can put in. Like they put some y'all are some nasty mother. Again, the world would be a better place if y'all would truly step out of misogynistic thoughts and just open up and just say the shit that you be saying to each other. And stop acting like you're so grossed out or offended by some of the things that men say. Y'all say the same shit. But the woman took his property. So he took her property and locked it in his car. And she didn't have a key. And they had an argument. The police came. They arrested him. And because they have a child together, they considered it a domestic violence dispute. He goes to jail, and they say because he took her property. Now, again, misogyny is in this, because how did I start this? She took his phone. She took his property. He went to jail for locking her property in his car. They didn't both go to jail. He went to jail. And he only went to jail because it was considered a domestic dispute because of this. And what I mean by that is like there is real cases of that. But like now this man is in the news. This man he could get suspended. A lot of bullshit can happen. But I'm ending this with Hate O'Clock, brought to you by Green Acres Sporting Goods. Green Acres is your go-to place for all things sports related, outdoor related. Guns, plenty of guns under $400. That Taurus 380. pistols, they got Glocks, whatever you want, they got it. Go get the especially if you want some self-defense stuff. Go check it out. Get you a 9mm, get you a pump shotgun. The AR-15s are cool to shoot too. They got that. They got weapons. They got bows and arrows. They got fishing shit. They got everything that you need for outdoor living. They got it. Z and them are amazing when it comes to that. My hate o'clock is us as a people. And I say us meaning black people. And everybody's welcome to listen in. So my white people, my pilgrims, y'all welcome to listen in on this. I talked about this on Monday's show, and I had some people kind of come in and tell me that was the truth. And we talked about this a little bit on the equality front. Here's where it's time. The energy that we give each other for mistakes, and this could be any culture, but I'm black, so I don't really know what other cultures do. We need to give others that energy when they fuck with us together, combined. What I mean by that is you got gangsters, quote unquote gangsters, got like Young Thug and these guys that will go out and say, I'm a smoker op. It looks just like them. Similar neighborhoods, similar backgrounds, similar upbringings. But yet and still, you guys won't do a goddamn thing to curtail the Dylan Roos of the world. Like, one of the things that at least people can talk about the Bumpy Johnsons, the old school gangsters, right? Don't get me wrong, a lot of killings happen. A lot of bad shit happened. They also had codes and rules. Don't sell drugs to kids. Don't shoot kids. Don't shoot innocent people. Don't shoot. The mafia has a lot of these rules too. Protect the neighborhood. When I look at what happened in Buffalo, New York, at the same time, a rapper, Freddie Gibbs, got into it with a guy named Benny the Butcher, who's from Buffalo, New York. Freddie Gibbs got jumped over bullshit comments that he made about Benny the Butcher. I'm all for that. Sometimes violence is necessary. But where are your goons protecting the old people who have done nothing but nothing like, imagine this, man. You're 77 years old. You survived racism. You survived segregation. You survived a lot of bullshit. You're going around minding your business, doing something mundane, and you get gunned down by a stupid-ass 18-year-old. When you got stupid-ass 18-year-olds gunning each other down that don't even have the wherewithal to make sure that you're protected. You want to tote guns? You want to be bad? Why can't you go do that for grandma, for me, mom, papa? Like, I'm tired of the Olympic Games that are played with who is downtrodden more. This shit's getting old, man. It's getting really, really old. And it's creating no unity. And now that I got you pilgrims in here, because you're probably all like, yeah, that's right. Like, stop killing each other. Why don't y'all stop this shit? You got a white woman right now who's suing her school system over CRT because she has a mixed son. Her black son is now identifying as a black man. One, CRT is not taught in schools. CRT is taught in college for people who are in pre-law. It is a boogeyman that is invented by Republicans. And I'll call you out, by Republicans. And now there was a movement that I can't remember the right year, but that was to try to teach slavery or what happened with the black experience from a more historical perspective. But that's not creating angry white 18-year-old kids. Why don't you, like, here, I'm gonna give you this. I even go as top to say, if you want to say we kill each other, fine. Stop raising pussies then. You want to go shoot somebody? I invite you to go to Rockbrook in Tallahassee. I invite you to go to 45th and Moncrief. here in Jacksonville. I invite you to go to Marcy Projects is gentrified now in New York, but it's probably plenty of projects. I invite you to go to these neighborhoods that are what you hate and why you think we're violent and try that shit. You go and you pick the most fucking docile, nice people to fucking massacre because of your racist ideologies that you've been taught by Fox News, by Tucker Carlson, by all these so-called alt-right media sources. Why don't you go to those places then? You feel like you're doing the thing to clean up America? Cool. What's the boy who went to shot up the protest? Not a problem. You don't think Black Lives Matter? You mad about that shit? You go bring your rifle. Go to the hood. I know why you don't go to the hood though. Because you're not looking for resistance. Because you're a pussy. And you people who defend this, you're raising pussies. I don't care if you like me or not. That's not against 2A. I personally think you shouldn't be able to get a gun if you ain't never had your jaw tapped. If you don't know how to throw hands, you should not be able to own a weapon. Because if you won't punch somebody, you shouldn't have the authority to shoot somebody. Doesn't mean you got to win. I just feel like you should at least know what it feels like to get your jaw tapped a little bit. But a lot of you guys are raising pussies. And it's probably because you can only impart what you are. That means you, in fact, are a pussy. And what happens is when you don't get your way, you throw temper tantrums. You expose shit. You try to burn it down. You don't want the history taught right, but you also don't want real confrontation. It's easy to boast. It's easy to go shoot unarmed people. It's difficult to go where they buck back. So I'm calling you out for raising pussies, but also you fucking goons and you gangbangers that are supposed to be so tough. Take that energy to the people who truly hate us. Maybe we'll get some fucking unity that way. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for any of those things. What I'm calling for is for people to be consistent. Nothing irritates me more than the lack of consistency in America, and in particular in our communities. Men, step to the plate. Women, step to the plate. It's for the kids, and it's for making things go the right way, man. Because I'm afraid for the future, but I'm more importantly afraid for, the way people talk. Because I got news for you. I have no problem. Well, I pray that my kids never get in trouble. But if they do, I hope they have their day in court because I can afford lawyers. If somebody takes my kid before their time, all the rationale, all the logical shit goes out the window, man. I will lose my mind. Have no problem with certain. Like, again, the reality is too many of you guys think you're thugs and you're not. And you're going, and I'm not. But I have no problem going to jail for what's right. And I'll go to jail for my kids. As I told a kid yesterday, because again, there are men and women who are out here showing our young men the other day. I had a running back who I thought about kicking off the team because he did something extremely foolish. He was with some friends and they jumped the kid. One of the coaches found out that was going to happen, and he tried to tell the kid not to do something stupid, and he did it anyway. He didn't get suspended for the year like he should have, which I think he should have. But he was at practice yesterday. He didn't play much. But when we got done, I let him know. One of the things that I hate more than anything is inconsistency. And you're either going to be a thug or you're going to be a football player. Obviously, I don't want a halfway thug and I don't want a halfway football player. If you're going to be on this team, though, because you did something stupid, not just stupid, you should have been to jail for it, and a coach tried to tell you not to do it, you still did it. So his ass I ran the fuck out of him. And you're gonna run the fuck out of him tomorrow. Run the fuck out of him today. I'm gonna run the fuck out of him tomorrow too. I'm gonna run the fuck out of him until I'm tired of running the fuck out of him. Because somebody's got to be a man to these kids. And I don't want him doing something stupid. And if you truly care about your people, you should do it. Because I think there's only one way to really curtail all this. If you got to go to jail for the actions of your dumbass kids, I guarantee you will stop seeing these mass shootings. Imagine them picking up whatever that boy's name, pussy ass daddy. And they don't put you in they put you in gym pop, and they put you around the people that you raise your kids to hate so much. I bet you that's the nightmare. Like the nightmare of the racists is their grandkids dating the person that they hate the most. Like now you gotta, because most grandparents love their grandbabies. Like you gotta love your grandbaby, but imagine you got a little colored grandbaby and you was racist. The only thing that's more scary than that is having to everyday face the stereotype, the actual stereotype of what you believe all these people are. And you got to see the worst. Because as I say before, if black people were as violent as are portrayed, this world would have burned down. So on that note, we'll be here on Friday. Might have to be a little bit later. I got a podcast that I got to do with actually, it's not a podcast. It's what's that shit called on Twitter? Spaces, Twitter Spaces or whatever. I'm supposed to be doing at 11, but we'll probably still start around 12:15-ish here. Check out Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. We got all kinds of stuff. Live music starting tomorrow. Keeping it rocking. We got DJ Pierre, Saxy Pierre, the saxophone player who's dope. We got Eric. We got Eric and his live band. Everybody's here. Good times. And other than that, man, we'll see you guys next time.
Oh, I gotta say real quick.
Oh, my bad.
Jamal Bryant already did what you hate the most.
He apologized?
Yeah.
You pussy.
He's already on
you
it.
pussy.
He's already on it.
I hate you.
Came for him hard and he came back quick with the apologize on stage.
No, it's not good enough. Should have done this shit in the first place, but like, nah, if it was a real apology, I could feel it. But nah, the way you spoke on that shit, you knew, like the women was like, that's right. Preach, pastor. Preach, pastor. That's why you won't catch me. Like, oh my God, I don't listen. I'm sorry it's on a rant, but like, you like church, dope. My mama asked me to go to church. I'll go to church with her. I don't mind RB Homes in Tallahassee, but I'm sorry, man. Until they start bringing I don't go where it's fake. Until they start bringing realism back, I don't deal with that shit. Because you a whole hoe for that, Jamal Bryant.